Kayla. How are you?
Hey, not good.
Why not good? What's going on?
I'm just pissed off. I'm just pissed. I'm tired of the same shit every day. I'm tired of it.
What, what's got you upset today?
I don't know. I'm really pissed. I'm really pissed. My grandma, she keeps getting in my business. She's trying to understand how I feel. She thinks she knows how I feel, but she doesn't.
Yeah,
She's always in my face, in my business, telling me what to do.
yeah. So something happened at home today before you came here. It's caused you to be really upset because I know normally when we meet, like you're not always this upset. Did she do something that caused you to be upset today?
She just she's always thinking she understands how I feel. She's always in my face. I can't stand it. I just want to beat her when she does that.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it. She wanted to talk about my mom, and I don't want to talk about her. I hate her.
yeah.
She's ruined my life.
Wow. So I'm gonna try to take this step by step, okay? Um, because I know we've had multiple conversations in the past, and I know that there's some strife and some friction there between you and your grandma, and she can cause you to get really upset really quick just by saying the wrong thing. Sometimes it can cause you to just totally flip into this other person that you've talked to me about in the past. Um, and I know we've had conversations too about your family dynamics. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about? I know you live with your grandma right now. Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your mom and your dad?
Oh, my mom, she's a piece of crap. She's a drug addict. She has kids and doesn't take care of them. And my dad, I never seen him. I don't know him.
So that's a painful area, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
When you think about that, like how does that cause you to feel on the inside? I know your grandma adopted you at a young age, and you didn't really know, you don't know your dad at all, I don't think. And then your mom, you've seen her sporadically. How did you feel? How does that make you feel? If you could go back and think about, even at a young child, young age, like how does that feel inside?
It makes me really angry. I don't know them. And I can tell you, I'll never be like them.
Yeah,
I'm tired of having to struggle. I struggle at school. I struggle to make friends. And I mean, they don't know nothing about me. They don't know what I'm going through. They're out there living their life.
hmm. So just a second ago, I noticed that you really, when you're speaking about it, you really get angry. Do you think that anger is something that you're lashing out at other people due to that issue of your mom and dad? That fact of you feel abandoned and you feel left alone, and there's like no one there to understand you, no one to get you. Like there's no relationship there. So do you feel like that is something that you've bottled up over the years and you take that aggression out on your grandma or even people at the school?
Yeah, I do, but they should just stay out of my face when I'm angry.
Yeah. So when I talk to you, sometimes you get angry with me. I've seen it. But there's something that's happened between me and you in our conversations where you allow me to confront you on some things and it calms you down at times. What do you think that is? You want to talk about that a little bit? Why is it that I can speak to you and challenge you face to face, and yet others, when they try to correct you or things that you're doing wrong, you blow up? What's the thing that you feel like we can sit here and talk about?
Well, when you start talking to me, sometimes it pisses me off because you want to talk about stuff that I don't feel like talking about.
Yeah.
But you make me talk about it, and then once it comes out, I'm able to feel more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
So
it's better.
Do you think it's good then to kind of talk about some of those emotions, those things that's happened to you in the past? Do you think it's good that we're approaching it that way, even though it causes you to get upset sometimes?
Yeah, but it's different with you because when I talk to you, I don't feel like you're judging me. Everybody else is always judging me, and I can't stand that.
Yeah. So, as we have worked together, as we continue to talk, and get to know each other, there's been a relationship that's been established, a sense of trust. I think you know that when you meet with me, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to point the finger or say that you're doing anything wrong. I'm here to listen, and I'm truly trying to understand um, those things that have hindered you and bothered you throughout the years as a childhood. And so today, I really want to hone in on that and talk about that, because here's what I think, Michaela. I think that you have a lot of anger, and there's some things that's happened in your life that's caused you to be really upset. And I think those things are your mom and your dad. Your dad abandoned you, and your mom being a drug addict. Just a second ago, when you were speaking, you said you got really upset. You're like, I'm never gonna be like my mom. And so I want to talk to you about that today a little bit, to kind of address some areas that I see that's happening in your life that might end up causing you to be like your mom, even though you don't realize it. Is that okay to do that, to explore those feelings today?
Yeah, I guess we can.
Okay. So a second ago you said that, your mom's a drug addict, and that bothers you because you've said in the past that she's chose drugs over you, and that's painful, that's hurtful. And so I want you to explore something for me for just a second. I want you to imagine yourself being your mom, okay? And those people that have drug addictions and struggle with substance abuse problems, I firmly believe that a lot of those people that struggle with that stuff don't necessarily want to struggle with that stuff, but they find themselves being a victim to that drug use. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so, and I know that you don't do drugs, and maybe in that regard, that makes sense to you how you're not going to be like her, right? Because you don't do drugs, so you're not going to be like that. But I want to explore something, if you will. I want to explore the one area in your life that you know that you have a problem with. What do you think that is?
Well, my anger. I'm always getting angry, but I just feel like I can't control it.
Yeah.
I have so much inside of me, and not enough people who understand or even care to understand.
Yeah.
So.
And this might make you angry today to talk about this, okay? It might be, and I'm prepared to go through that. I definitely don't want to fight with you, but I want you to see the connection between your anger and your mom's substance abuse. As I said a second ago, you were really mad because you feel like she chose drugs over you, and still to this day is doing so, right? And so I want you to see how that anger, though, might cause you to end up being just like her. You want to talk to me about that? Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah. I don't want to be like her. I don't want to. She chose drugs over her children. My grandma is over here struggling, raising kids that's not hers. Mm-hmm. And my grandma has to deal with me and all my issues, and that's not right. My dad is living his life.
Mm-hmm. So you find yourself acting out towards your grandma in uncontrollable ways. I know that you've attacked her multiple times, and you've been arrested for that. You've had problems at school where your anger has gotten the best of you. You've erupted. You've hit people. You've attacked people.
She should just learn to leave me alone.
Yeah. So to some degree, I know you're a happy person. I know that to be true about us, right? But yet, and we've instilled these coping skills. We've instilled a lot of different things that's going to help you focus on that anger. But yet, still, you find yourself, when you're angry, you find yourself completely not addressing those things that we've put in place to help you control that anger. So in some ways, that's kind of causes you to be a victim, has it not?
Yeah.
And I know we've talked, and I know you don't like being a victim. You like to be in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to, with that in mind, I want you to think about your mom for just a second, okay? Perhaps she finds herself, and I'm not making excuses, Michaela, about your mom, okay? But perhaps she's a victim herself to the drug use that she's used over the years, okay? And again, I'm not making I'm not making excuses for her. But you said just a second ago that you're not going to be anything like her, right?
Yeah.
And so your mom finds herself being this victim, perhaps, to this drug use. And yet, your anger is causing you to become a victim itself. Because, Michaela, you know when you're happy, because you can tell me when you're happy, and you can tell me when you're mad, right? So you find yourself not exercising those coping skills, not listening to people that you know that you should be able to trust in your life, such as myself, right? We've put in different things in place that's going to help you calm down. But yet when you're angry, you refuse to focus on those things, and it's going to cause you to be a victim just like your mom was. And here's my fear for you, Michaela. And from the amount of time that we've spent together, I'm afraid that if we don't learn to start controlling that anger, those things, those thoughts that come into your brain, okay, that causes you to get extremely upset, if we don't learn to control those things, I'm afraid that we're going to end up in a worse place than where we are today.
I just wish I could do that with everyone and not just with you.
Well, maybe you can't.
I don't think I can.
I believe in you. I know you can. I know the person inside that we've got over the course of the years, we've had a chance to talk about this, and I've got a chance to know you. I know your heart, Michaela. I know when you're happy, and I know there's some things that you feel like it's out of your control when you get angry. I think that you can. And so there's some things today that I'd like to talk to you about that might provide a pathway, if you will, to help you explore new areas and to be more mindful of when you're upset and when you're happy. That's going to could possibly cause the whole relationship to change between you and your mom, or you and some school personnel, like the principal, when they challenge you when you're upset. Perhaps we can change one thing that will allow you to listen to them like you can listen to me, right?
But they don't want to help me. They think that something's wrong with me. Everyone just thinks something's wrong with me. And I'm a problem. I'm a burden for them.
Did they ever say that to you?
No, but I can tell.
You can tell? So you can read people's mind?
No, it's the way they treat me.
It's the way they treat you? So, perhaps just thinking, okay, perhaps if you were willing to change one aspect with them, you would allow them to be able to speak to you the same way that I'm speaking to you, right? And maybe they could calm you down in that moment where you're not going to act out some of those aggressive behaviors and those violent outbursts that you do.
I just wish you could be here every day and I could deal with you and not have to deal with them. Because all they do is piss me off.
Right. But that's an unrealistic expectation. I mean, obviously, I can't be with you every moment of the day. So we've got to learn, Michaela, how to deal with that anger. Like I said, you know when you're happy and you know when you're angry. You've voiced that in the past. So we've got to learn to adapt to a new experience, if you will, that will allow you to process through that anger and that aggression. So I'd like to propose something today, if you will. I know out of all the people that you've had encounters with that's caused you to blow up, one of the main people in your life is your grandma. And I've had multiple conversations with her as well about this. And I have this thought, perhaps, and I think you've kind of expressed this as well, that I think some of your anger is directed towards her that you're really feeling towards your mom and your dad. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. Because I love my grandma, but she doesn't know when to back off. And then when she pushes me there, it does. It makes me think about my mom.
Yeah. If you allow me to for just a second, let's talk about your grandma, okay? She adopted you at a young age. You've always had a home to live in. You've always had food. You've always had clothing. Now, she's not perfect. Neither are you, and neither am I. But, and I've talked to your grandma about this as well. I know that that's, she's very upset with you as well. She feels as though like you're ungrateful, despite all the things that she's provided for you. So maybe there's something that we can do, something tiny that we can do with grandma in the home that can cause her to see you in a different light, and vice versa. Perhaps you might be able to see her for who she is, as your grandma, and not as your mom or as your dad. Are you willing to possibly explore doing something different? Because I know that you don't want to be angry.
I guess we can do that.
Yeah. So, you know, after talking to your grandma several times, she said something too, that like she does all the cooking, she does all the cleaning, she does all the laundry, she does everything. And she says she feels like she doesn't get much help from you, which causes her to just get real irritated with you and to lash out and say things sometimes that maybe she doesn't want to say. Do you think possibly that if we changed one thing, she might be more appreciative of who you are? And in that regard, it might change when you say she's always up in your business, right? If you were, hypothetically speaking, to cook in the house, do you think that might change something in the relationship?
Yeah. I actually like to cook, so
That's good.
maybe if I do that, it'll shut her up.
That's good.
She'll come home
Well,
complaining.
perhaps a different way to look at it is to, perhaps cooking is not a way of shutting her up. Perhaps it's a way that you can help her.
Yeah.
And if you help her, she's willing to help you.
Yeah.
And so that's the new experience I want to provide for you. And that's a simple step. It's a simple thing that we can do at home that can be beneficial to your relationship with your mom. And perhaps changing one thing, Michaela, can start this process of healing and understanding of who your grandma is, and that she doesn't have to be the reason for you to be so angry and upset.
That sounds okay.
In this same principle that we're talking about, this butterfly effect, if you will, if Michaela just started to start cooking in the house and started helping more around the house, maybe your grandma wouldn't bother you as much. Maybe she wouldn't be up in your business as much. And in a way, it's a real constructive way, proactive way of getting ahead of your anger instead of allowing yourself to be a victim of that anger.
You're right. Yeah.
So perhaps we can start to explore that within the next week. And I'd like to talk to your grandma as well and bring her in to see how that transition is starting to happen. And we can learn from that experience and how that makes you feel on the inside. And then how that's going to make her feel as well. So from a real interpersonal and also interpersonal perspective, we're starting to explore some of these changes to get control of that anger.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Sounds good. Maybe we can schedule something next week. Another appointment. We can come back in. We can talk about some steps that you've taken after some things we've talked about. That maybe we can see a change there, and maybe through that simple change, a new sense of relationship and a new sense of trust will be established there. I mean, you'll begin to see your grandma possibly in the same light that you can see me, because you know your grandma loves you. She does.
She does.
She does. We've got to learn to understand that she is not our enemy. The enemy that we're fighting is that anger on the inside. Okay? So us trying to focus on things that we can do to fight the right enemy, to fight that anger, because I don't want to see you end up as a victim. And I don't want to see you end up in the same position as your mom or your dad. Okay? You've got a bright future way in front of you, and you've got all kinds of opportunities. And so I want to explore those, and I want to see you be there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, Michaela. I think our time's up, but I appreciate the time coming in today and really getting a chance to talk to you. It means a lot to me.
I appreciate you too.
All right. Thanks, Michaela.